a badass way. All the mamas in the house, let's slay. 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 Rise and shine, it's a brand new day. Got the hustle in my heart, I'm ready to play. Juggling the bills while I chase my dreams. Nothing's gonna stop this mama, or so it seems. With little ones around, running wild and free. I got my own empire, it's just you and me. From the crack of dawn, I lace up my shoes. Coffee in my cup, no time for the blues. So raise your glass, here's to all the queens. Badass mamas living all our dreams. We got the sparkle, we got the heart. We got each step we take, we're breaking apart. So raise your glass, here's to all the queens. Badass mamas living all our dreams. We got the sparkle, we got the heart. With every step we take, we're breaking apart. Bills pile high, but I won't lose sight. Got my fierce mama vibe, I'm ready to fight. Navigate the struggles, I'm the captain here. With my dreams in focus, no room for fear. Building my kingdom brick by gritty brick. Every setback just makes me more slick. With each lesson learned, I turn pain into power. Here comes the queen, watch me rise by the hour. So raise your glass, here's to all the queens. Badass mamas living all our dreams. We got the sparkle, we got the heart. With every step we take, we're breaking apart.
Welcome back to another episode of Badass Mama Moves. This is the very first episode of 2026, and I can't even believe, oh my God, time flies, right? I can't even believe what an amazing journey we've had in 2025. So many great topics and so many amazing conversations that we had. So I really, really encourage you to go back to the Prospera TV network, and whether via Roku or YouTube or Stream TV, whichever platform works best for you, and just go and watch those past episodes. And while at it, why not watch another one of the shows and episodes from my amazing fellow co-hosts. We all have our own gifts and great messages that I'm pretty sure that at least one of them will speak to you, right? So, first thing first, Happy New Year to you. Happy 2026 to you. I am your host, Yara, and if you're here right now, I really don't believe that's by accident. Before we get into any conversation, what we're going to be talking about today, I just want to take a minute real quick and pray over you and declare that this year brings you clarity when things feel confusing. I pray and declare in the name of Jesus, peace over where chaos used to live, strength on the days that you feel tired, and most of all, grace. Because you don't need another year of being hard on yourself. I wish this year brings you and is full of all the great things God has store for you for this year. And I pray that in the name of Jesus. Amen and amen. Now let's get down to business. I want to start with this year with a straight up truth, a reality that not everyone knows or realizes, and that is that most men and women do not struggle with money because they are irresponsible. They struggle because stress changes the way the brain makes decisions. And nobody ever sat us down and explained that part to us, right? Because more likely than not, our parents and grandparents didn't even know it themselves, right? And no shade on that. They passed down what they knew, right? We cannot blame them. We weren't taught to budget. We weren't told to save. Shame was attached to money and spending. It was a taboo. It was attached to fear. Money was attached to fear. And nobody ever said, hey, when you are under pressure, your brain doesn't work the same, just so you know, right? No, because when money gets tight, logic does not lead. Survival does. And survival mode does not care about 5-year plans. It doesn't care about future goals, and most certainly do not care about next month, right? Whatever you have planned out for next month. Survival mode cares about right now. Relief right now, safety right now, getting through this moment right now, period, right? If you ever say like, I don't know why I keep doing this, or I know better, but somehow I just keep going back to this situation right here. That is not you being careless. That's your nervous system trying to get you through the day, trying to get you through whatever situation you're going through at whatever moment you know in that moment. And that's what you are used to. That's what's familiar at the same time. And a lot of us, a lot of our money decisions are not actual decisions. They are responses. They are mechanisms and reactions. They are responses and reactions to stress, to exhaustion, to feeling like everything is on you. And if you drop that one ball, everything's just gonna collapse and it's just chaos happening, right? And when you have been living in survival mode for such a long time, your brain learns one thing really well, and that is to make it stop hurting, right? That signal is like make it stop hurting like fast, like right now. That's the signal sent to your brain. So that's why planning feels heavy when money is tight. That is why avoidance feels easier than opening the bank app, for instance. Why short-term relief can feel more powerful than long-term peace, right? Not because you don't want better. Of course, we all want better, of course, right? But because your system, our system, has been trained to survive and not to strategize. And let me tell you, you do not fix survival habits with shame. You fix them with understanding. Because once you understand why you do what you do, why you keep falling back into whatever cycle you're in, with money, you stop fighting yourself. And when you stop fighting yourself, that's when change actually becomes possible. So today we are talking about we're not talking about discipline. We're not talking about willpower or I'm not here to tell you, hey, you should try harder. No, we are talking about self-sabotage, what it really means, what it looks like when money is tight, why it sneaks into, how it sneaks into our spending, and how so many of us blaming ourselves for behaviors that were actually formed in survival, but we just didn't know it, right? And I want to share with you and walk you through what this looks like in real life so that you are able to relate and put two and two together and kind of pinpoint everyday situations to whatever it is that cycle really and self-sabotage really looks like. And you can like pinpoint it, right? Like, oh, that's why this, that's why that, right? So because when you see it, you can unsee it and then you're able to shift things. That's when shift begins because you know then what you're working against, right? So when people hear the word self-sabotage, they usually picture something loud and messy and just chaotic. Max out in regards to money, they see it as max out credit cards, blown savings, big obvious like what was I thinking moments, right? But that's not how it usually shows up with money. With money, self-sabotage is quiet, it's low key. It blends into your everyday life so well that you don't even recognize it's self-sabotage. It just feels normal. And that right there is what makes it dangerous because when something feels normal, you stop questioning it because you're already used to it, you're immune to it, and it's a normal thing. Self-sabotage with money doesn't look like chaos right away. It looks like coping. Like I said before, it's a reaction, a mechanism, it's a coping mechanism, right? So what that really looks like, one of the biggest ways that really shows up is avoiding your bank app because today is not the day. Simple as that, right? That's what we tell ourselves. You tell yourself you check tomorrow or the after payday or when things calm down, whenever that happens, whenever that is, right? But what's really happening here is that looking at your numbers doesn't feel neutral. It feels threatening. Your chest tightens, your stomach drops, your mind starts racing ahead to everything that the money has to cover. Like, how am I gonna do this? And most times, all of this happens simultaneously and naturally. You know, it happens so naturally that you don't even realize it. And if you do, you don't really put it together as self-sabotage. Like you don't put it as that, you don't label it. So your nervous system does what it's designed to do, which is to protect you. And avoidance is not laziness. It's your brain saying that feels unsafe right now. Let's just not go there. But the problem is that avoiding your numbers doesn't pause reality. It just delays your ability to respond to it, to take action, to strategize. Late fees sneak in, balances creep up, small problems quietly turn into bigger ones. And that's how it kind of sneaks in gradually, little by little, right? Till it explodes. Another sneaky one is the spending in small amounts. Those little purchases here and there. You just feel something other than just to feel something other than pressure, right? That's why we do it. And this one is one of those that I always talk about and show my clients what they really look like when we're going through numbers. And let's be honest, it hits home because we can relate. A lot of us can relate to that because it's one of those the most common ones when that happens. It's not the big spending. It's the $5 here, $7 here, $2.99 here and there. It's not that much. It's not about the amount. It's about how often it happens. You know, the through two, three coffees here from the coffee shop a week, not the not so quick Target runs, the Amazon cart add-ons, fast food today because you're too tired to think and let alone cook. You know, those purchases are not about the items or the amounts. It's about relief. That's what they bring you. When everything feels heavy, bills, responsibilities, expectations, spending gives you a moment where you get to choose something for yourself. It creates that sense of control, even if it's just for a brief moment. And when you've been living in a season where control feels scarce, that moment matters because you get a sense of control. Even if it's just for a tiny moment, you get to feel that control. I'm getting that coffee. Let me just get it, period. Right? The problem is not the spending, it's what the spending is trying to ease. Right? Then there is the familiar promise, I'll start fresh next paycheck. That's another one on how it shows. But then again, every paycheck feels like a reset button. This week was rough. I'll start on the next one. I just need to go through this situation. Next paycheck. But that fresh start really never happens, never really comes because real life keeps showing up. Life keeps happening. Unexpected bills pop up out of nowhere, school stuff for the kids. You know, every month there's always something. Groceries are costing more than we planned. There's always something that needs attention. And the cycle repeats. Like keeps moving, life keeps moving forward no matter what. And choosing temporary relief over long-term peace is where self-sabotage really lives. It's choosing what makes today easier, even if tomorrow gets harder. Because we want the relief. Our brain is just sending that signal. We want to relief like right now. Because when you're overwhelmed, your brain is not asking what's best for me long term. It's asking how can we get through this thing right now? Like let's just do this fast. That is why saving can feel pointless when money's tight. That is why planning feels like you are wasting your time instead of feeling empowered. And long-term goals feel distant and unrealistic and even frustrating because your nervous system is focused on survival, not strategy. It means your nervous system is overwhelmed. And when you've been under financial stress for a long time, especially paired with emotional stress and trauma and carrying everything alone, your body starts to, your body stays in high alert. And when your body is in constant alert mode, your decisions change, aka sabotage. Your decisions get sabotaged. You don't choose what's optimal, you choose what feels safe, the safest. That's adaptation. The problem is that one that thing helped you at one point, help you survive at whatever moment or period of time can quietly keep you stuck. And how can you start to shift that? Not by judging yourself, but by getting curious. We need to get nosy with ourselves. Instead of asking, what's wrong with me? we should be asking why my body is acting like this. What is it that I'm reacting like this? So asking those curious questions is when things start to change. So let's talk about the science behind this, about how this cycle keeps repeating, how shame and guilt locks in, keeping you stuck running in place like a hamster, and what actually helps you to interrupt it. So, what's happening is that once you understand, a lot of the shame and the guilt and all of those kind of emotions start to fall off, because then when money gets tight, your brain doesn't just get stressed, it switches into threat mode, right? And when you understand what's going on, you're aware of what you're really going against, right? So when money gets tight, your brain doesn't get stressed. It switches into threat mode. And that switch is your brain doing what it was designed to do when it senses danger, whether it's a danger from a wild animal or an overdraft notice. Your brain does not distinguish between physical danger and financial danger the way we think it should. Your nervous system, it's like giving you that signal that you're in danger, period, right? That you're at risk, in risk to safety, risk to stability, risk to survival, right? So your brain reroutes energy away from long-term thinking and sends it straight to the parts responsible for fast decisions. So this is why it really looks like under the hood, right? Inside our brains. So the part of your brain that handles planning, the part of your brain that handles logic and future thinking, the prefrontal cortex, starts to quiet down under financial stress. At the same time, the amygdala, which is the part responsible for fear and emotional responses, becomes more active. So what am I actually saying here? So let me just translate in a very good English. You don't lose intelligence, you lose bandwidth. Studies in behavioral psychology and neuroscience consistently show that financial stress reduces working memory, it narrows focus, and it limits our ability to think beyond immediate needs. Your brain literally has less space to plan ahead when it feels threatened. So when someone says you just need to think long term, what they're really saying is use a part of your brain that's currently offline. You're offline, so you cannot think of long term, right? That's not realistic in your brain at that moment. And that is why planning or strategizing is a no-no, because you just can't do that at the moment. Impulsivity. Let's talk about that. Is one that gets misunderstood a lot. When money is tight, people assume impulsive spending means recklessness. But research shows something different, which is that under stress, the brain seeks immediate relief, not pleasure, not luxury, relief, period. Right? Like safety right now, right away. That is why small rewards feel bigger when you are overwhelmed, right? The coffee that I spoke about earlier, that coffee, a takeout meal, a quick online purchase, a moment where the pressure eases, even if it's briefly, right? That sense of control and relief at that moment, even if it's for a small period of time. So your brain releases dopamine, the feel better for a second chemical, and it reinforces the behavior. Now, not because it was a smart financial move necessarily, but because it lowers discomfort for a moment. And your brain logs that as this helped me, remember this, lock it in. So when this happened again, we just do this again. And that's the cycle. That's how the patterns form, right? And another important piece people don't talk about enough is that financial stress creates tunnel vision. So when resources feel scarce, your brain zooms in on what's right in front of you and pushes everything else out of focus. That's why long-term goals feel abstract and saving and planning feels pointless. Your brain is saying, we don't have time to think about later. Deal with now, with right now. Let's deal with this right now. That's also why short-term rewards suddenly feel more important than long-term outcomes. It's not that you don't care about the future. It's that your brain doesn't feel safe enough to prioritize long-term decisions or plans. So when you say, I know I shouldn't be spending like this, your logic is not wrong, but logic is not in charge at that moment. Your brain hears, we're uncomfortable, fix it right now, period. Take me out of here. And it goes looking for the fastest solution, not the best one, but the fastest relief. Whether it's that cup of coffee or that little Target run just to get you a little something to make you feel better. That's why willpower alone does not work. You cannot outdiscipline a nervous system that feels under attack. So let's layer that a little bit in something in something else. Yeah, because there's always something, right? That makes it even heavier for many women and men too, trauma and prolonged stress. Right. Let's layer that out. When it is combined with trauma and prolonged stress. So that means if you lived through long-term financial instability, a toxic or controlling relationship, being the sole provider, constant pressure without support. So your nervous system may already be primed for threat. So money stress does not just feel stressful, it feels familiar. And familiarity can be dangerous because even when it's unhealthy, it feels safer than uncertainty. That is why change can feel so freaking scary, right? Scary as heck. Because even when it's positive, it's just not predictable. So this is why shame does not fix money habits. Shame actually keeps the brain in threat mode. It reinforces the idea that something is wrong with you, which increases stress, which makes impulsive and avoidant behaviors more likely. And it is the vicious loop, right? And most people are stuck trying to solve a biological and emotional response with self-criticism. That never works. Newsflash. Your brain is not sabotaging you. It's trying to protect you with the tools it learned during pressure. The problem is not that you make bad decisions. I mean, sometimes we do, right? But let's just, for the sake of what we're talking about right now, the problem is not that that you make bad decisions, is that those decisions were shaped in survival. And survival is not designed for long-term peace or planning or strategies. Once you understand that, the goal shifts. And that's where real sustainable change actually begins because you are aware, you understand it now. Oh my God, that was a lot of information. In the next segment, we're going to talk about how this science shows up in everyday money cycles and how shame quietly keeps those cycles locked in place longer than they need to be. We're going to go into a commercial break and we'll be right back in just a minute.
We are queens, yeah, let them see, ruling the world, full of energy, Moscalabios, we're fierce and bold on your story, let your colors unfold. We're the queens, standing tall and proud, in a world full of colors, let your voice be loud, Besitos beauty, we're the fire, the light, empowered, unstoppable, ready to ignite, grab your shades, it's time for the glow, confidence in color, let the whole world know.
Let's talk about how tight money changes your decisions. And when money is tight, every decision feels emotional, even the ones that look logical on paper. That's why you can sit there knowing what you should do and still feel completely stuck. Because under financial pressure, decisions stop being about number and start being about emotional risk. Savings doesn't just feel like saving, it feels like sacrificing comfort you're not sure you get back. Planning doesn't feel empowering, it feels like setting yourself up for disappointment. So then you start thinking things like, what's the point of saving if something always comes up? Why plan when life never sticks to the plan anyway? Those thoughts don't come from laziness, they come from experience. When you have tried before and still ended up with stress, they come from when you have done the right thing and life still knocks you down. And hope starts to feel fragile. And protecting yourself from disappointment can look like giving up before you get your hopes up again. And that's self-protection. That's not self-sabotage. It's the way people usually define it. That is also why spending can start to feel justified when money is tight. Not reckless spending, it's relief spending, right? That's the term. Because if it's not going to make a real difference, why not spend it anyway, right? That's why we think that's a message to the brain that comes from emotional exhaustion. And that's how this turns into a cycle, because this is where so many people get stuck without realizing. When money gets tight, stress kicks in and your nervous system goes into alert mode. You feel pressure in your body before you even look at your numbers. Then the short-term relief decisions come into place. You avoid looking at your accounts, you start spending small amounts here and there, you postpone the planning, and you tell yourself, I'll reset later, right? These choices are not random. They are attempts to regulate stress. But then comes the aftermath, right? Guilt shows up. You tell yourself you should have done that, you should have done better. You play the decisions in your head over and over again because shame sets in later on after that. Not just, I made a mistake, but what's wrong with me? Why can't I get this right? Everyone else seems to manage. Why can't I? Right? You start comparing yourself. And here's where the thing really shifts in the wrong direction. When shame takes over, motivation drops because shame doesn't inspire action, it trains it. So instead of regrouping, you retreat and the cycle repeats. Shame is one of the fuels that keeps the cycle alive. Shame keeps your nervous system in threat mode. Threat mode keeps you reactive. Reactive decisions reinforce the shame. See the cycle? Shame keeps your nervous system in threat mode. Threat mode keeps you reactive. Reactive decision reinforces the shame, and there you goes again. And no amount of willpower breaks a shame-based cycle, because when you feel ashamed, you don't plan, you react. You operate from damage control to not intention. This is why so many smart, capable people feel stuck with money. They are trying to solve an emotional and neurological loop with logic alone. And logic by itself cannot override a nervous system that doesn't feel safe. When you start asking those curious questions, remember, like I said before, right? You need to get curious. You need to start digging. You need to do that deep work. And once you understand the cycle, you can interrupt it, because now you've created awareness. You now know what you're going against, and then you can counter. You can work on that. Now, to wrap up, let's talk about the how to break this cycle and how you can move from survival decisions into intentional ones. Let's just kind of bring it all together, what we talked about. First, let's name what's really happening. When money gets tight, it's almost never just about the money. It starts with pressure. A bill, an unexpected expense, a season where income doesn't stretch the way it used to. That pressure doesn't sit quietly. It shows up in your body. Your shoulders tense, your Thoughts are running 100 miles per hour. You feel that familiar weight in your chest. Stress kicks in. And once stress takes over, decisions stop being intentional and start being reactive. That's when short-term relief choices happen. You avoid looking at the numbers, you spend small amounts, you postpone planning because you don't have the emotional capacity for it in that moment. None of that feels reckless while it's happening. It feels necessary. But then comes the aftermath. Once the pressure eases, even just a little guilt shows up, right? Even if just a little, guilt will show up. You replay the decision in your head over and over again. You could have done differently? You tell yourself you should have not done that, right? You'll promise you'll fix it next time, but that next time is the same story, right? And that guilt doesn't just sit there; it turns into shame. So shame sounds like, why can't I get this right? It sounds like I should know better by now. Everyone else seems to manage. Why am I still struggling? So here's the key most people miss, and that is that shame does not motivate change, it shuts it down. Research in psychology shows that shame activates the same threat response in the brain as danger. So when shame is present, the brain goes right back into survival mode. So there goes the cycle again, right? And when you're in survival mode, motivation drops because your system is exhausted. And again, instead of regrouping and planning, you retreat, you react, and you do what you need to do to get out and go through the moment. And the cycle repeats. This is why shame is the fuel that keeps money patterns alive. Because when you feel ashamed, you don't plan, you react. Now, when you become aware, that's when and where the shift happens. Remember the curious questions. That one curious question that you may ask yourself can change everything. And you start understanding yourself. You start understanding, and that understanding creates a space of change, right? That one curious question can shift everything and change everything. This is also where real solutions come in that can actually work with your nervous system instead of against it. Because change starts with awareness, and awareness helps you pause before a decision and check in with how you feel, not what you want to buy. Is more logic, right? Awareness helps you to stay grounded and not spiral or collapse. It leads you to progress, and then your nervous system feels safe enough to think clearly again. Safety brings clarity, and clarity brings consistency, and consistency brings change. That's the cycle you want to be in, right? Clarity, consistency, change. Once safety returns, long-term thinking becomes possible again, and that's the place where real, sustainable money shifts are made. Now let's bring this home. If there's one thing I want you to walk away with after this episode is that you are not broken. You've been surviving, and survival taught you habits that make sense when things felt uncertain and heavy and unsafe. And just because those habits helped you get through, then doesn't mean they're meant to carry you forward. Self-sabotage is not a character flaw, it's a signal. A signal that your body's tired, a signal that your nervous system has been holding too much for too long, and a signal that you've been managing pressure the only way you knew how. But awareness is key. Awareness changes everything. The moment you stop shaming yourself and start understanding yourself, you take your power back. The moment you name what's really happening instead of beating yourself up, you interrupt the cycle. The moment you choose compassion over criticism, clarity has room to show up. So it's a new year. Let's make this year where you break that cycle and kick that cycle to the curb. It's not that you have to become a whole new person. It's about moving differently with what you already have, to respond instead of reacting, to support yourself instead of fighting yourself, to build peace with money, not through perfection, but through presence. So if money has felt heavy, if your decision haven't always matched your intentions, if you've been quietly carrying guilt, shame, frustration, let this be the year you stop doing money on hard mode by working towards making yourself aware and understanding what's really going on. Curious questions, remember that one. Just that one curious question. So that safety returns to your system, so that clarity follows. And when clarity leads, real change sticks. So make that promise, your promise to yourself for this year, right? Let's just break that cycle. Alrighty, guys. So this is it for this episode. I really, really hope this episode spoke to you at least with somehow, some way, that it really opened and lit up that light bulb in your head. This is a year to make that shift and make that change and break that cycle. And as always, remember, I see you, I feel you, I am you. We are in this together. Stay grounded, stay fierce, and let's keep making those badass mama moves. Till next time.
Yeah, it's the badass way. All the mamas in the house, let's slay. 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 Yeah, yeah, Rise and shine, it's a brand new day. Got the hustle in my heart, I'm ready to play. Juggling the bills while I chase my dreams. Nothing's gonna stop this mama, or so it seems. With little ones around, running wild and free. I got my own empire, it's just you and me. From the crack of dawn, I lace up my shoes. Coffee in my cup, no time for the blues. So raise your glass, here's to all the queens. Badass mamas living all our dreams. We got the sparkle, we got the heart. We got every step we take, we're breaking apart. So raise your glass, here's to all the queens. Badass mamas living all our dreams. We got the sparkle, we got the heart. With every step we take, we're breaking apart. Bills pile high, but I won't lose sight. Got my fierce mama vibe, I'm ready to fight. Navigate the struggles, I'm the captain here. With my dreams in focus, no room for fear. Building my kingdom brick by gritty brick. Every setback just makes me more slick. With each lesson learned, I turn pain into power. Here comes the queen, watch me rise by the hour. So raise your glass, here's to all the queens. Badass mama moves, living all our dreams. We got the sparkle, we got the heart. With every step we take, we're breaking apart. This is your Prospera era, where dreams align with grace, abundance flows like rivers. You've stepped into your place. Rise, reign, and remember, you were born to shine. Welcome to your moment, Prospera, it's time.
We hope you enjoyed today's show on Prospera TV Network. Make it a point to visit us on YouTube and catch all your favorite shows anytime you want. Interested in hosting a show of your own? Or advertising your business on our network? Contact Elena Rodriguez.